So I recently finished reading the Book of Van Vogt. It was recommended to me by a viewer, and I saw it at the store, so I thought, why not? Now, this is a short story compilation, and the first 4 or 5 of these short stories, they're pretty short. They're like 10 to 12 pages. They weren't very good, to be honest. But there's 2 longer stories at the end of this compilation, 50 to 60 pages, and those ones were good. I liked those ones. So I'll give a quick summary of those 2 longer ones. And yeah, that's about it. This was 3 out of 5 stars, by the way. So definitely read if you have time. Now, I'm not sure, actually, before I start the summary, I'm not sure if this is his best work. Maybe I accidentally chose something that's not very good and he has better stuff out there. If so, I'm happy to hear about it, but this is what I'm judging him on, because it's the only thing I've read by him. So the first longer one in here is called The Sound of Wild Laughter. And basically, you have this extremely misogynistic guy married to this lady, and they're both scientists, okay? Now, I should probably give them names for the sake of the summary. Carl is the misogynistic guy, and his wife is named Mary. Marie? Yes. Now, they're both like the head of this like US Physics Institute, and in a previous project at some point, they had decided, well, if we die, we should donate our brains to the Institute. And so, all of a sudden, Carl randomly dies in a car crash. Now, they're able to get to the scene fast enough. I guess they like cut his nerves out of his body and they put his brain into this like vat. And it's in this glass casing, and they had recorded like brain waves on the computer before he died. And so they're able to interact and have him speak, even though he's dead. Is he dead? I'm not really sure. But he's able to speak through his speaker because they had monitored the brainwaves before he died. One interesting thing is that if this is written in like the 50s-ish, so computers are still like these massive machines, right, that are like basically still analog. And so it says in the short story that Marie's expert eyes were able to distinguish the large contraption as a computer machine, which I thought was pretty funny because obviously nowadays everyone knows a computer when they see one, but back then it was kind of a strange magical creation. So anyway, so far we have Carl dead, his brain's in a vat, and Marie has yet to meet or speak with him after the incident. Now there's a couple other people that are important. There is 2 other physicians or people that are involved in the project. Now I should give them names too, because one is named Walter, and the other one's name is Dr. McCary. Now, here's the thing: they all like Mary, or Marie. I'm not sure. They all like her. So we have this weird love square, not a love triangle. It's a love square. Now, Carl, he's super misogynistic, and he has this book that he wrote that he keeps in his room called Women Are Doomed, and it has all these aphorisms he made up about like women's behavior. And so, I mean, I don't know much about Van Vogt. Just based on the text, it seems as though he's like making a satire, like he's very aware of the fact that Carl's like a bad guy, but the irony of it is that Carl is like, his aphorisms are like somewhat predictive actually of what happens, and so there's this moment where Marie knows that her husband is like totally whack, but she's like dang, like he actually got some things right. So it's kind of funny. But anyways, Marie convinces the Institute to let her transport the brain back to her house. She has like an estate with several houses, and she gets put into one. Now, she obviously is like not really into the whole brain thing. Like, of course, he wants attention, and like she's the only one of the only people he can talk to, and so he's kind of just like a liability, a maintenance thing. And of course, Walter and McCary, now that Carl's out of the picture, are kind of like ready to make their move. And so, anyways, I'll just skip over a lot of details. Things get messy. Basically, Marie sleeps with both McCary and Walter, and he doesn't go into any like graphic detail. It's not like it's not explicit or anything. It's just mentioned in passing. And Marie doesn't really know what to do. And then she goes to visit Carl one day, like the brain, and the brain says, I want you to come visit me tonight. And she knows what he's going to say, right? Because he's always said things like that. And he's going to suggest a suicide pact, because he's done it several times before. So that gives you an idea of how crazy this guy is. So what she does is she sets up a closed circuit TV so she can like talk to him from a distance. She sets it up. Oh, one detail I missed is that Carl had requested a metal barrier be put over the glass dome because there was construction going on, and he didn't want any of the construction equipment to fall on him. And so he's in this glass vat in her house under the metal dome, and basically she doesn't walk in. She walks into the separate building and pushes the button to speak on the closed circuit TV and says, like, "Hey, Carl, I'm here. Like, what did you want to talk about?" And he's like, he goes ahead and suggests the suicide pact like she thought he would. And then he's like, well, actually, before I died, I actually had I had a bunch of bombs built into the life support apparatus. And he's like, I'm doing this for you. He says the trigger word, and everything blows up. Now, she's in the separate building, so she's fine. And does he know that? I don't think he knows that. And so, or he doesn't figure that out. And then he doesn't die. The plot twist is that he doesn't die either, because the bomb is like above, and he's protected by the metal barrier that was there for the construction equipment. And so nobody dies from this. And then McCary and Walter, they've been fighting this whole time, and they basically just agree to like split and like have Monday, Wednesday, Friday be one guy, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday or whatever be the other guy that gets to hang out with Marie. And Marie is like very unhappy with the whole situation, obviously. I mean, I think she's like a regular girl, just wants a monogamous relationship. And so she feels very trapped, and that's kind of just where the story ends. It's a very unsatisfying ending. So that one, yeah, it was very weird. But I did like the idea of the brain in the vat, and like the plot twist of the suicide pact and the explosion. That was all good. But yeah, that was a weird one. And then the second one that I liked it's called Lost 50 Suns. And the universe is basically humans much far in the future where we have mastered like faster than light speed travel, spaceships, genetic engineering, all this stuff. So 15,000 years ago, humans had created these robots that are like not like robots, but like humanoid robots, kind of like androids from Blade Runner. So they are basically humans. They just are synthetic humans, and they have all the real capabilities of a human, except that they are like much stronger. And so the humans end up getting like this bad taste in their mouth. Like they're just like racist against these robots they created, and so they like expel them, excommunicate. They push them out of the solar system. They say, go colonize another planet. We don't want you. So they go and in this very, very, very far away, in this other solar system, they colonize 50 planets there. Now the humans don't know where they are. So 15,000 years go by, they kind of just do their own thing, and then one human expedition goes to map a star system, and there's this lady that's in control of the ship. She has like a super long name. I keep forgetting what it is. See if I can find it here. Lady Lar. The Grand Captain of the Star Cluster. The Star Cluster is the name of the ship they're on. And so she's like, well, we're here to chart the area, but I know there's civilization here. So she broadcasts like this signal to the entire system saying like, if you don't reveal yourselves, we're going to annihilate you. But it's a bluff because she doesn't know where they are. And so on these planets, the people are trying to figure out like, well, what should we do? And then Lady Lar issues another threat saying, well, the first person to come forward, like, we'll spare you, but everybody else you're going to get killed. Or there's some other stipulation. Basically, there's an advantage if you come forward, and if you don't, you get destroyed. And the problem is that the government of all these humanoid robots, they're basically like, yeah, we're not going to say. But the problem is that there's this race of mixed men that are between the humans and the robots. And they have like this special ability to do mind control. They're like more creative and stronger than everybody. But they're like in hiding basically because no one likes them either. Like even the humanoid robots don't like the mixed men. And so they're in hiding. Now, of course, the government of the humanoid robots know they exist, but they kind of have this like peaceful alliance where they don't mess with each other. But the problem is that there's this young leader who's going to like usurp the mixed men government, and because they want equal rights, and so they're going to come forward to the star cluster, the human ship from Earth, to get additional rights, so they can like, because they believe that they're superior. I mean, they are superior in ability, so they think that they're worth more as like a life. So they're going to come forward, get their equal rights, and then punish the people who they see as the oppressors. And so the main character of the story, and I always forget names. I'm so bad with names, even in real life and in fiction. Maltby. Maltby is the main character. He's a dude, he's a mixed man, and he is the hereditary leader. So he's like the shot caller. But he's also, what do you call it? A high-ranking official in the humanoid robot party. And so he's on a ship tracking the star cluster, following them to see where they go. And then he has to commandeer the ship to go to a mixed men city to like talk to the guy and talk him down from like going forward with his plan. So he manages to do that. That's good. So the mixed men, the small faction of mixed men that were going to reveal the locations, they decide not to do it. And then he lets the ship go back, and he wants to make contact with the star cluster. But as soon as he gets close, the star cluster has the ship from Earth has like way more advanced weaponry. So they get a tractor beam, they pull him in, and so they're basically they're cooked, they're done. But he manages, as soon as they get on the ship, to take mind control over the guards and have the 5 people, including himself, that have the coordinates of the planets to like slip out. And so the rest of them are like imprisoned in whatever in a room, and he slips out. He uses mind control, and he finds the room of Lady Lore, the human lady who's controlling the star cluster. And basically he threatens her, trying to get answers out of her. Nothing definitive or definite is like decided upon, and then another human comes in and like gets him out of the room and like threatens him. So he like has to run out. He had set up triggers for the people mind controlled to get an escape. So he triggers it, everyone gets off the ship, and they run away. And so he's done 2 daring things now. He's talked down the leader of the mixed men faction from revealing the location, and then he's made contact with the humans and escaped. And so even though nothing definitive came of it, he was able to do these 2 great things. Now, here's a plot point I'm missing exactly. For some reason, the humanoid robots decide that, hey, it's only one Earth ship. We can take him. Because if they go back to Earth, they're going to send more ships later, and they're going to find us eventually, and this might happen in 10, 20 years. So we might as well take our chances, destroy this one ship so that they can't go back and tell everyone else on Earth. So they send 1,000 ships to go take over this one star cluster. But the star cluster is way bigger, and it has way more advanced weaponry. So they send this like warp thing that like warps the space-time around the 1,000 ships. So whenever they fire missiles, it curves back, and they can't figure out what's going on. They can't get out. And then one by one, they tractor beam them in and like destroy the ship and capture the people. And so they're just, it's over. And so Lady Lore, one thing I left out of the plot was that everyone on the ship wanted to go home except for her, and that as they were heading home, she had finally lost. The 1,000 ships confront them, and so she has this moment of redemption in front of the crew where she's like, actually, I was right this whole time. There is civilization out there. And all of the navigators that knew the coordinates of the lost civilization, they shot themselves in the head. They committed like suicide to save the civilization. But they also had not only tractor beam technology and warp technology, they also had technology to reconstitute the brain. So they save or reconstitute the brain of a few people, bring them in and torture them, and they force them to tell the location of the cities. And so Lady Laura is successful and finds the lost civilization of the humanoid robots. That was a lot of talking. Anyways, Van Vogt, very creative. It was good. Not sure I'd jump to read another one of his works, but perhaps if someone recommends me one in particular that is standing out above the rest, and I see it, I would buy it and add it to the collection. So, yeah. 3 out of 5 stars. What more can I say? Thanks for listening. See you next time.